Okay, imagine this for a second. You're standing on a balcony, high up, looking over a city at night. You hear the usual city sounds, the traffic hum, but then it changes. It gets, well, more metallic. You look up, and suddenly there are drones, not just one or two, but like a swarm, like angry bees coming down and then streaks across the sky missiles.
Moving way too fast.
That's a terrifying scenario.
Exactly. That sudden feeling, in your stomach, that vulnerability, that's what nations are constantly working to prevent. Because let's face it, these aerial threats can pop up out of nowhere now. Protecting the skies isn't just important, it's fundamental.
Absolutely fundamental. The bedrock of security today.
And that challenge, that exact challenge, is why we're doing this deep dive today. We're going to get into a really groundbreaking moment for India's air defense.
We are indeed. We're talking about the first successful flight test of their own homegrown integrated air defense weapon system, the IADWS.
Right. And this isn't just, another piece of military tech. It's more like India building its own sky shield. Completely designed and built in India. Entirely indigenous. That's a key point.
So our mission here is to unpack this whole thing. We want to look at how it came about, the tech behind it, which is pretty amazing, and, well, what it all means for security, for India's self-reliance, maybe even wider implications.
And we'll try to break it down, make it easy to grasp, like we're just chatting about it.
Exactly. So let's paint the picture first, because the actual event was quite something. Picture this. Saturday afternoon, August 23rd, 2025. About 12:30 p.m.
Okay.
Off the coast of Odisha, where the Bay of Bengal meets the sky. Beautiful spot, actually. That's where this test happened. And it wasn't just engineers ticking boxes.
No, definitely not. It was a real statement, a demonstration of capability.
So 12:30 p.m. hits, the IADWS comes online. Now, the people watching. Teams from the DRDO, the Defense Research and Development Organization, India's big defense tech powerhouse.
Many key players.
Along with folks from the Indian Armed Forces. They're all there at this secure test range.
Yeah.
And the system had to deal with multiple things at once. Simulated threats, but nasty ones.
Yeah.
High-speed drones, low-flying aircraft, incoming missiles, all happening together.
But what really stood out, for me anyway, watching the analyses, wasn't just that there were multiple targets, but how incredibly coordinated the response was. The system didn't just sort of react piece by piece. It seemed to orchestrate this. Well, you called it a ballet earlier, and that fits. A synchronized ballet of technology. Detecting everything, tracking them, and then taking them out with different parts of its arsenal. It was true integration in action.
That coordination sounds incredibly difficult to achieve in real time. So what's the big deal about destroying 3 different targets at the same time? Why is that specific detail so important here?
Well, that's the core of it, isn't it? Handling that kind of complex, multi-threat scenario simultaneously, that's what makes this test genuinely unprecedented for this system. Because, you see, this was the very first time that all the different parts of the IADWS actually worked together in a live flight test. It wasn't just the missile working or the radar working. It was the whole system integrated, proving it could function as one unified shield.
Got it. So the sum is greater than its parts, really.
Precisely. And that achievement got noticed immediately. Defense Minister Rajnath Singh was quick to praise it online, calling it a unique flight test. He specifically mentioned establishing a multi-layered air defense capability and how it strengthens protection for, vital places.
Critical infrastructure, power plants, things like that.
Exactly. And beyond the technical success, it really tapped into a sense of national pride, a feeling of, we built this and it works.
Yeah, that makes sense. So this idea of layered defense comes up a lot, but it sounds like IADWS isn't just stacking systems on top of each other, it's more dynamic.
That's a great way to put it. It's dynamic. Think about protecting your home again. You wouldn't just lock the front door, right?
No, definitely not. I'd have maybe cameras, an alarm, motion lights.
Exactly. Layers, each doing a different job. Maybe the camera spots someone far off, the motion lights deter them closer in, the alarm goes off if they break in. Air defense is similar now. You can't just rely on one big missile system.
Good, the threats are so varied.
Right. Drones can sneak in low and slow. Ballistic missiles come screaming in from high up. Aircraft might try to stay just outside the range of simpler systems. A single layer, like just having a fence, well, it won't stop everything. You need comprehensive cover.
That's multispectral, covering different ways threats can appear.
Precisely. And this kind of layered thinking isn't just, good practice in general. It's become really urgent for India looking at its neighborhood.
Okay, let's talk about that context.
Well, you have Pakistan's Shaheen-3 missile, which apparently has a range of around 2,750 kilometers. That's significant reach.
Hmm.
Then you look at China's arsenal estimates suggest over 1,300 medium-range ballistic missiles. Plus, and this is a global trend, the rise of really cheap but disruptive drones. We've seen how effective they can be in recent conflicts.
Swarms, even.
Exactly, swarms that can overwhelm older systems. So in that kind of environment, a versatile, integrated, multi-layered system like IADWS isn't just nice to have, it's essential.
And it's not just for wartime, is it? You mentioned protecting vital facilities. That applies in peacetime, too.
Absolutely crucial point. This shield isn't just rolled out when conflict brews. It's a 247 guardian for critical infrastructure. Power plants providing electricity to millions. Major airports connecting the country, key government buildings, these all need constant protection.
So it provides a baseline level of security regardless of the immediate threat level.
Exactly. And building something this sophisticated, it doesn't happen overnight. There's a history here. India's push for better air defense really kicked into high gear after the Kargil War back in 1999.
Right, I remember that.
That conflict really exposed the need for better ways to intercept missiles and integrate air defenses. And DRDO, which was actually formed way back in 1958 by merging some existing labs, has been building up this expertise over decades. They've become a real engine of indigenous innovation.
So this IADWS is really the culmination of decades of work and learning.
Very much so. A legacy forged by necessity.
Okay, let's get into the nuts and bolts then. You said it's layered with core components. Let's break down this IADWS team.
Right. Think of it as having 3 key players, each with a special skill, but all working together seamlessly.
First up, you mentioned the QRSAM, Quick Reaction Surface-to-Air Missile. You called it the Watchdog. What does it do?
That's a good way to think of it. QRSAM is mobile, which is important. It's a system developed by DRDO along with Farah Electronics Limited, BEL. It can hit targets up to 30 kilometers away.
Okay, 30 kilometers. That's a decent range.
It is. And the quick reaction part is key. It can literally launch in seconds, even if the launcher vehicle is moving. Think about protecting army convoys on the road. That's where this mobility shines.
I see. Not just static defense.
Exactly. And it uses a sophisticated radar, an active phased array type. Instead of a spinning dish, it steers the radar beam electronically. This lets it track multiple fast targets simultaneously over a wide area, up to maybe 120 kilometers for scanning, gives very little warning.
So QRSAM is that essential outer ring. It deals with threats like aircraft or cruise missiles before they get too close.
Precisely. Swatting them down early.
Okay, layer 1. Then there's the IADWS, very short-range air defense system. You describe this as a slingshot for soldiers.
Yeah, maybe a slightly simplistic analogy, but it captures the portability. IADWS is man-portable. Infantry soldiers can carry it and fire it from their shoulder.
Wow.
It's developed by DRDO's research center, IMARAT, in Hyderabad. It uses infrared homing, basically. It locks onto the heat signature of a target, like a drone or a helicopter. Its range is shorter, maybe 6 to 8 kilometers.
But its advantages?
Its advantage is hitting those low-flying, sneaky threats that bigger radar systems might miss or struggle to engage quickly enough. Think low-altitude drones or helicopters using terrain to mask their approach.
Right, things trying to slip under the radar, literally.
Exactly. And being man-portable, lightweight, it's perfect for deployment in really difficult terrain. India has incredibly diverse borders, high mountains in the Himalayas, deserts. IADWS can go where vehicles might not.
Makes sense. Okay, so QRSAM for longer range, IADWS for close-in, low-flying stuff. What's the third piece? You mentioned something quite futuristic.
Yes. This is where it gets really interesting, arguably the star of the show for many observers. The high-power, laser-based directed energy weapon, or DDW.
A laser weapon.
Yeah.
Like science fiction stuff.
It sounds like it, but it's very real. India tested a version, the MKIA, earlier in 2025. Essentially, it's a highly focused beam of light energy.
It zaps things.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
It can disable drones or even missiles by precisely overheating their electronics, their guidance systems, or literally burning through their structure. We're talking power levels up to 50 kilowatts, combined with sensors to track the target accurately.
What are the advantages of using a laser?
Several big ones. It's silent. It's invisible to the naked eye. And crucially, it's incredibly cost-effective per shot. You don't need expensive missiles.
The ammunition is just energy.
Exactly. This fundamentally changes the cost game, especially against cheap drones. Why fire $1 million missile at a $10,000 drone if you can zap it with a few cents worth of electricity?
That was a massive shift in economics,
Yeah.
especially against swarms.
Huge shift. It makes defending against swarms economically viable in a way missile-based systems struggle with. So the DW forms that critical inner layer, dealing with small, numerous threats that might slip past or overwhelm the missile layers.
So QRSAM, IADWS, missiles, and lasers. How do they all work together? Who decides what shoots what?
That's the final crucial piece, the brains of the operation, a sophisticated command and control software system.
Okay.
This system integrates feeds from all the sensors, analyzes the threat's speed, altitude, type, and then intelligently assigns the best weapon to engage each target. QRSAM for that high-flying jet, VSRADS for the low helicopter, DWW for the incoming drone swarm.
And the August 23rd test proved this brain could actually manage that complex coordination in real time.
That's exactly what it proved. Flawless integration, taking out those 3 different targets simultaneously. It showed the whole system, brain and muscle, working as intended. It's not just having the weapons, it's the smarts to use them effectively together.
Right. Now, to really grasp the significance of accelerating IADWS, you mentioned looking back at Operation Sindor earlier this year, May 7th, 2025.
Yes, Operation Sindor is important context. Those were the precision strikes India carried out against terrorist infrastructure inside Pakistan, targeting groups like Jaish-e-Mohammed.
A very significant move.
It absolutely was. It marked a shift, as we discussed, from restraint towards more proactive deterrence. But critically, taking that kind of action also highlighted the need for absolutely robust air defenses back home against any potential retaliation.
Because you can't act proactively if you're worried about your own vulnerabilities.
Precisely. The limited nature of that conflict probably underscored that adversaries might try to exploit specific gaps, maybe vary altitude, speeds, attack vectors. A single type of defense might not cover all possibilities.
So Sindor really drove home the need for that integrated, multi-layered capability of IADWS, which could handle diverse threats coming in at the same time.
I think that's a fair assessment. It addressed vulnerabilities that might have been perceived or highlighted by the strategic situation around Sindor.
And the name itself, Sindor, the vermilion mark signifying strength. There was a lot of symbolism there too, wasn't there?
Definitely. It resonated culturally. And some commentary at the time also pointed out, perhaps subtly, potential inefficiencies in some of the air defense systems used by the adversary, systems often sourced from China.
Interesting point. So post-Sindor, pushing forward with IADWS wasn't just a technical goal, it became a strategic imperative.
Yes, and it fit perfectly with the government's broader Atmanir Farhat, the Self-Reliant India initiative. Developing this kind of critical defense technology domestically became a top priority.
And this really highlights DRDO's role again. Building this capability in-house is huge.
It is. DRDO's track record is substantial. Over 50 major systems develop missiles, radars, electronic warfare systems. It's significantly cut down India's reliance on foreign military hardware.
Which has economic benefits too, right?
Absolutely. And it's not just DRDO in isolation. These projects involve partnerships with private companies like Bharat Electronics Limited, BAL, who we mentioned with QRSAM. These collaborations speed up production, create high-skilled jobs.
Engineers, technicians.
Exactly. It builds a whole defense industrial ecosystem. And remember, IADWS is just one part, albeit a critical one, of India's larger air defense modernization. There's also the Indian Ballistic Missile Defense Program, aiming for comprehensive national coverage, potentially by 2030.
So, a very layered and long-term strategy.
Yeah.
How was the August test received then? Domestically first.
Domestically, it generated a lot of excitement. Odisha's Deputy Chief Minister, Kanagvarhan Singh Deo, spoke about the honor for his state, hosting these kinds of crucial tests.
Understandable pride.
And in the media, analysts were calling it India's entry into the elite air defense club, framing it as a vital counter to threats in the region, particularly from Pakistan and China.
You mentioned a social media comparison.
Yes, someone likened it to the Sudarshan chakra, Lord Vishnu's mythical discus. You know, unstoppable, precise, a symbol of ultimate protection. Captures the sentiment, I think.
Definitely paints a picture. What about internationally? Mixed reactions, you suggested.
Well, as you'd expect, perspectives differed. For instance, there was commentary from a Pakistani analyst suggesting that stronger Indian defenses might actually make India more likely to take assertive action, potentially destabilizing the region. They even hinted at needing countermeasures, like developing ways to overwhelm the system with smarter missile attacks.
The classic security dilemma. One side's defense looks like offense to the other.
Exactly. But Generally, the consensus among most international defense experts is that robust defensive systems like this actually tend to enhance deterrence. They make aggression much costlier and riskier for any potential adversary, which can lead to greater stability, not less.
And how does IADWS compare to famous systems like Israel's Iron Dome or Russia's S-400?
People naturally make comparisons. Iron Dome is focused primarily on rockets and mortars. S-400 is a very capable long-range system. IADWS is different. It's this integrated, multi-layered system covering various ranges. And critically, it includes that unique laser weapon component.
The DEW.
Right, that directed energy weapon gives it capabilities, especially that cost-effectiveness against drones that many traditional missile-only systems don't really have. It carves out its own niche.
And beyond the military and strategic aspects, we touched on the economic impact. Worth reiterating that, I think.
Definitely. Building these systems domestically saves billions in foreign currency that would otherwise be spent on imports. It nurtures India's own defense industry, which is already estimated to be worth over $20 billion a year.
And creates jobs. Real skilled jobs.
Absolutely. From the PhDs designing algorithms in labs in Hyderabad or Bengaluru, to the technicians assembling components, to the support staff at the testing ranges like the one in Odisha, it's a nationwide economic engine, really.
So what's next for IADWS? What's the road ahead?
The plans are ambitious. The target for full deployment across the country is around 2035.
Okay. Still a ways off, but a clear goal.
Yes, and there are plans for deeper integration with assets like satellites, India's GSAT-1A, for example, for even better real-time tracking and situational awareness. Plus, ongoing upgrades are essential to counter new threats as they emerge.
Like hypersonic weapons. That's the next big worry, isn't it?
It is. Countering hypersonics is a huge challenge globally, and future iterations of IADWS will undoubtedly need to factor that in. Of course, there are hurdles. Well, scaling up production to meet the needs of covering a country the size of India is a major industrial challenge. Ensuring the system is reliable in all sorts of extreme weather, from freezing Himalayan conditions to scorching desert heat, is critical. And, crucially, training the personnel in the armed forces to operate and maintain such a complex, integrated system effectively. That takes time and resources.
Significant challenges for sure.
They are. But, looking at DRDO's track record over the decades, there's a strong basis for confidence that they can meet these challenges and deliver on the vision for IADWS.
So really, as the sun went down over that test range in Odisha back in August, it feels like it was also rising on a new chapter for India's defense capabilities.
That's a nice way to put it. IADWS isn't just hardware, it's a symbol, isn't it, of ingenuity, homegrown resilience, national effort.
It reminds you that real strength, especially in today's world, often comes from within, built by your own people.
Exactly. And maybe, just maybe, knowing that SHIELD is up there, developed through Indian innovation, lets people across the country breathe a little easier.
So, thinking about all this, these increasingly sophisticated, layered, intelligent defense systems that mix missiles and even lasers. What does this really mean for how conflicts might be fought in the future, in this super interconnected, weaponized world we live in?
That's the big question, isn't it?
How does this kind of innovation change the strategic calculations for countries? Does it open up new ways to think about defense, or maybe even pathways to peace, in this constant race for control of the skies? Something profound to think about.